welcome to the third episode of Tormenta Talk. We are La Tormenta, the supporters group for West Texas FC out here in Midland, Texas. I am Luke McDonald. I've got Chris Haig. I've got Brian Hodnett. And we met the gaffer, Scotty himself, this past week. And so today we're going to be talking about just we chewed that poor guy's ear off, asking questions, and we had so much fun out at Tall City. And Tall City threw a great event, and so we're really thankful for them.
Top notch.
But we're going to talk about some players. But let's start with Scotty. You know, we finally got to see him again and talk to him. Brian, what was kind of something whenever you think back on all the different things we talked about? What's something that comes to mind just at the forefront of your brain?
The big thing for me that Scotty was big on the guys knowing each other, kind of chemistry. That to me for a 10-game season is huge. You can have 22, 23 D1 players you can pluck from all over the country, put them in a room, and you might have a product. A bunch of these guys know each other. They played together. They've known each other for years. They know how each other moves, this move, that. I mean, y'all both, know the sport. You know when a guy makes a certain feint, something like this, you know what he's going to do. These guys know each other. It's going to make things really fluid for us out there this year. That's going to create that chemistry early. And he's picked some very smart players and some people that are very coachable, ones that will be actually able to blend in really well with the guys if they don't have a teammate here. I mean, the guy's making some really, really smart picks early. And I think it's going to show out there on the pitch.
Absolutely, Chris. And you were kind of mentioning earlier just about like really being specific and intentional about the nationality and language.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly like Brian's saying. Coach was explaining how he's being intentional with where players are coming from the same university. Some of them kind of have that partnership, even players from the same background, different nationalities. I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about this team right now is it's super diverse. We have a lot of countries that are already represented. We won't give it away, but Coach Scotty was explaining some other nationalities that will be coming into the squad. And he was just explaining how he's going to make sure, like Brian said, every player has somebody to connect with, which is huge. The other thing I was really impressed with was just, one, how open Coach was with us. It was awesome talking details with him and getting some information. But aside from the chemistry piece, also really intentional about how to be successful throughout the season, right? Thinking about tactics, but making sure that you have that chemistry early on, thinking about developing throughout the season so you can have success towards the end of the season. And even one thing that really impressed me, he was talking about how when he interviewed players, he knew in the first few minutes what was the right fit. So he's really thinking about that personality piece and whether that teammate is going to come in and gel as a teammate, which we talked about the last time we were chatting on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved when he was talking about how he would know within 2-3 questions whether or not this was a person he wanted on his squad, and a lot of it was just the players that showed drive for the community, for the fans, for the other players, as opposed to just themselves. If a player, he mentioned someone saying like, "Hey, I'm not playing if I don't get this number," and he's like, "Bye," like dude can play. Dude's an incredible footballer, but it doesn't matter, right? And the quality of person and the quality of kind of what they value was much higher importance, which just makes you really proud,
Yeah. And what you're saying too about that commitment to the club, the community, to being here. I mean, Coach was saying that too. I'm thrilled to have a coach who's excited to return, who's excited to be here, who's ready to be here in Midland, Texas, and he's looking for players who are excited for that too and excited to represent this community. So that's awesome. And as fans, we couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, something too about like seeing that fire in the coach's face. I remember last season meeting Scotty early on. And then when we got closer to game day, it was like he had that flame, in his eyes, and it got you fired up. He was like ready, man. He had it already. The other day when we were talking to him, like I was like, can we start tomorrow? Because I need these games to happen. I can't wait, another couple months.
Well, I feel like he could grab a couple people from the pub out there and take us to the pitch and let's go. We're going to go. I don't know where I'm playing, but I'm ready to play.
For sure.
Yeah, which isn't that a mark of a great coach? Like someone that you just want to fight for and fight alongside. That's just, you can't, I don't know what that quality is called or what it is, but it seems like that's a next level attribute. And I'm really proud of the Cannons for seeing that in Scotty. That was obviously there, but really bringing him back and saying, no, that's the fire that we want.
Yeah, the term I've always used is run through a wall. Will you run through a wall for that guy? Stand in a trench with that guy. Scotty seems like that guy. And, the players, I think they're going to, stand shoulder to shoulder with him, and it's just everybody's going through a wall. Yep. That wall may be, the South Championship, it may be the NPSL Championship. They're going to go through everything that man sends them at. I think it's going to be awesome.
I know 3 guys who would run through a wall right now.
Sign me up. Let's go. We got this.
Oh, man. So let's, speaking of who's running through the wall, let's talk some more players, because that was a lot of fun last week.
Yes.
And I think I already, especially kind of studying Lucas and getting, deep into his stats and into his highlights, it was something that really already brought some fun familiarity. So we each looked at a couple players. We're hoping to get through the whole squad, and so we're kind of speeding up just a little bit. But Chris, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. So last time we chatted, one of the things we talked about was an area of need, that being goalkeeper. And then bam, 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 we had 3 goalkeepers.
Yeah.
I think in less than 3 days, we just really quickly right after. So maybe somebody was listening. So thank you to the club for listening. And we got our goalkeepers. So one of them that I want to highlight, the last time I also chatted about 2 players coming from the same university, Kaiser University, and one of our goalkeepers is coming from Kaiser as well, and returning to West Texas in Santiago Nebot.
Yes.
So Spanish goalkeeper, he was with the squad last season, didn't play, right? Didn't get a lot of playing time. It sounds like he was injured, but also, ahead of him we had Chris and Alex who are playing really great. So, but he's returning, which is great. He just finished his senior season at Kaiser, and had a few other notes here about him. Actually, I have these notes because I had to read his accolades from the announcement, because his accolades are great, right? He's 4-time NAIA Defensive Player of the Week, so not just his conference, but all of NAIA. 2024 First Team All Sun Conference, 23 and 22 Second Team All Sun Conference. And in 2021, he was an NAIA national champion with Kaiser. So I didn't realize that Kaiser had won a national championship, so he's had that experience of being on a championship level squad. And then the other thing, just looking at some footage, there's some good film of him online. We've got it on our spreadsheet that we're sharing through La Tormenta. He's a good, big goalkeeper, but agile too. One of the things I was most impressive about is he's big but intimidating in the box. He's not afraid of one-on-ones, coming out, defending his line, but off the line, getting low and just blocking some shots that way, which you always want to see. And then he's great saving if he's in the frame as well. And interesting, looking at his stats, he has 2 assists. So he had an assist in 24 and an assist in 23. So
wow, that's crazy.
They were assists. He's got him on his footage, bombing the ball far down the pitch, and it turns into a goal. But he's comfortable distributing, which is huge as well. Comfortable with the ball at his feet. So I'm sure that Scotty's thinking about that as well, as how can keepers play with the ball at their feet also. And just I think an exciting player, because senior, he's going to be a leader, and he knows these other players coming from Kaiser as well. No. So that's the first one I wanted to highlight for sure.
You can always use the West Texas win to give him a little assist out there, man.
That's true.
He might help out last year.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brian, who you got?
Oh, let's start with Rex Pierce, Australian. 21 years old, hometown Sydney, Australia. He was playing for Hartford in junior college. He's going to be playing for University of Detroit Mercy, Division I school, this coming season. He plays wing. My first note, I always put their foot. And I put left foot and dangerous shots in and out of the box. Create space and shoots. Power and finesse. 2024, he played in 21 games, 17 starts. He had 22 goal contributions. 17 goals, led the team and division, and 7 assists, which is 4th on the team and in the division. JUCO D1 All-American. I shared between y'all a YouTube clip of this guy. And, oh, buddy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about somebody exciting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, dude can bang it from across the field, from the right, from the left. I mean, I watched about a minute and a half, and I was like, I got to share this with y'all. I know we're all doing our own research, but you got to see this guy.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a couple more notes here. I reached out and kind of cheated, and I said, "Hey, Scotty, give me a little something on these two dudes." He says the same thing: dangerous left-footed, very dangerous cutting inside. Played at a very high level in Australia, and a good guy to have in the locker room. You know how much I love that. Good guy to have in the locker room. Toxicity, man, especially when you have a short season. That's going to be a real fun player right there for us to watch. I'm excited to see what he brings to West Texas. I mean, think about where we're at, man. We got Appia out there. I mean, feeding between this front attack. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be something else.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I love those attributes you called out, the finesse, the power, especially in a winger, someone who can really kind of take those corner, from the outside of the box. And I was going to cover our center back, but I'll start with our other winger here. So, Alberto de Miguel. So, Spanish winger. He plays in Oklahoma, D1. So, that'll be fun. So, Murray State College is where he's playing. But
Nice.
He's a product of the Atletico Madrid Academy. So, if you're not familiar, that's like Raul and, of course, Fernando Torres. Who
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Just, as I'm looking through, it's like certain names just jump out at any fan. If you watch this guy's highlight reel, it is, if he wasn't on our team, I would be terrified of this guy. There's several clips, multiple clips of two different things that I noticed that you can't help but notice. But the guy picks up the ball, around the midfield line, will dribble through half the other team. Not an exaggeration. 5-6 guys, and then just coolly slot it in the corner. I mean, like the dribbling, it's like the ball is somehow just glued to this guy's foot. The other thing, again, multiple instances of like making a move and leaving defenders on the ground. Like not just going by them, but they are on the dirt. And so when I saw that, it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of scared of this guy, even though he's on my team. He is just astounding. Like the way he moves his feet, the way the ball sticks. And it's like he's just barely moving. It's kind of has that messy thing, right? Where, you can see the ball just moving inches and somehow his feet are moving twice as fast. And the defense just has no idea what to do with it. So I think Miguel is going to be a standout. So it's fun to hear both wings, such strong players on both sides.
And I'll see your Australian winger and see your Spanish winger and one up you with a Brazilian winger.
All right, let's go.
All the wings.
As I
Just
look
going
at this
from every
roster,
angle. Let's go.
It is the Wingers FC. When we look at this roster, there's going to be a lot of talent in this attack. So I also wanted to talk about and share about Leo Freire, who's a Brazilian winger. He's younger, but man, he is good. And Coach Scotty was talking about him on Saturday. He is a talented player coming from Faulkner University. So that's where Coach Scotty has been. He knows him. That's where Appia has been. Just a sophomore last year. But as a sophomore last year at Faulkner, 16 games started, 9 goals, 7 assists.
That's pretty solid as a sophomore.
As a freshman, he was getting starting playing time. He was playing. He was putting up goals and assists. So in 2 years at Faulkner, he's got 15 goals, 12 assists. So a good young player, and he's exciting too. You watch those clips, and I think this is what's exciting because these different wingers, each one is a little bit different in terms of size, maybe pace, physicality, and play style as well. So we're going to have some talent and hopefully different attributes that coach can kind of draw on. But what I noticed with Leo is he's comfortable with the ball at his feet. Like, he's not afraid to dribble through traffic. And there were some moments in some of the clips that I watched where it's like, it's not always the cleanest dribbling through traffic, but he's dribbling through traffic and all of a sudden, bam, he pops out of traffic and how did he do that, And then pops a shot off. Also not afraid to shoot from distance. And you were talking, Brian, about, what foot are these players? I was watching Leo's clips. He's shooting with left and right from distance and making shots.
Nice.
So that's really exciting to see. He's fast. He's a fast player. So getting in behind the defense. And then as I mentioned with the assists, he knows how to find those key passes. Get into the attack, find that last pass to set up a teammate for a shot. So Leo's really exciting. A lot of these wingers are exciting, but I think Leo's going to give defenses some trouble when he gets playing time.
I really love the stat of when the goals and assists are right there alongside one another. That's a real team asset.
There's a lot of goal contributions. Exactly.
Yeah. Man, that's fantastic.
That's a tough thing, especially like talking to younger teams. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to be Messi and Ronaldo. They want all the the glory and everything else. The dirt work, man, is go out there and battling to put a pass across and give up the glory, knowing that they're going to celebrate with him, not with you. Mm-hmm. You might get a little, hey, man, good job, but you're not getting to do a sui or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
I love those guys that are willing out to do that dirt work, the unseen, the labor, right? Mm-hmm. So, man, we got some guys like that on this squad, too. That's going to be fun to watch.
Definitely. Well, and you got to think, too, that's going to wreak havoc for the defense because they don't know whether to look for the cross or look for the shot. And the guy in front of them might be able to do – if the guy in front of them can do both, that's like, what do you do with that?
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, who else you got, Brian?
All right. Now, again, me and last names, right? Apparently I got last week's.
Hey,
right.
Coach told us that we got.
Coach said, "Yeah, thumbs up." Carrick, I'm going to say Bromage, 22 years old from Neath, Wales. I'm saying Neath. I'm guessing that's it, man. I am again.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man, we're
trying my
Texas.
best, but
that's
for my
right.
Texas,
we're doing our best.
Yeah. School's Mars Hills University is a D2. Position's a midfielder. And I'm going to jump over to some stuff Scotty told me about this guy. He said he calls him a midfield maestro type of player. Ooh. Incredibly versatile. Can play center defensive mid, center mid, center attacking mid, right back, good leader, vocal, communicative. One thing in our coaching with the kids and stuff like that, communicating is poor. Mm-hmm. I love when you get someone that says they're communicating on the pitch. You got to tell your guys what's going on, right? One thing I noted down, he's a right foot player, saw using right, left to shoot, pass, and score. Great passing range, short, medium, and long. Can switch the field, plays the ball well into space. And the stat line I could find for him was in 19 games, he started 13 of them, 2 goals, 1 assist. But if he's playing defensive midfield, what do you want, right? Mm-hmm. The footage that I saw of this guy, his highlight clip was really fun. It set up, scoring early, and it kind of progressed through different things he did well. He always seems like he's in a good spot on the field. Always good spot on the pitch. He'll go find the ball. He'll go tack, help out, send up. Kind of a Swiss Army knife, if you will. That's what I saw. Like Scotty said, let me plug you in here. Let's move you around. Let's shift this around. Maybe we can do this guy here and do that here and maybe change up our defense and attack. I really feel like he's going to be a very, very good player for us, especially since he can do multiple positions and do them at a top-notch level. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the squad.
Yeah, that's awesome. Having those Swiss Army knife players is huge. You look at a player like Weston McKennie, who's been playing all over the field, right? All these different positions, but that's useful, and especially like you said, if they communicate, they're a good leader, which is really valuable to have on a squad.
That was something like what Scotty told us about captains and communicating leadership, right? I mean, we left that part out in the beginning, but the amount of leadership that we're going to have on the squad, man, I mean, I love it. It's going to be really fun to see these guys working together, come together, and just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a player that versatile, you got to imagine that just gives Scotty so many options, right? Based on what he sees the opposition doing, he can potentially move those types of players around and change up the formation to match the opposition and not worry about, oh, now that guy's going to be, not in his kind of home spot if there's someone who can really be all over.
Save your sub, right? Okay, send this sub out there, move him over here, move this, set that, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, you really wish you had a bunch of players you can move around like that. Now, let's see what Carrick's got for us. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what he plays out, man. His film looks great.
Yeah.
Film looks good. So, I'm, again, one of those guys I'm excited to see when he gets here. We start moving around and see what he brings to, our squad.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. So I'll end our players for this episode by talking about Daniel Granado. Center back, plays at Goldie Beacom, which is like the greatest name for a college I've ever heard. It's a D2 school up in Delaware. He is a center back, 6'2". Dude is huge. Mm-hmm. And he has 2 or 3 goals from last year, just in last year's season. There was footage of, I assume what was one of those from last season, was off of a set piece, just flies in towards the front post, strong, huge header right into the corner. And so I think having a player like that, both for set pieces, big time set piece threat, but also at the back, anytime you're defending a set piece, having a guy like that just planted in the middle of the box is just, I remember just so many times where, we needed that, and every team needs that, right? If you don't have that, it ends up really punishing you, especially in a league like this where set pieces can be a really big deal. But outside of that, he's from Seville, Spain, so another Spaniard. Was from the Seville FC Academy. So Seville is a La Liga team, plays against Barcelona, Real Madrid. Another guy, speaking of Real Madrid, from that same academy is Sergio Ramos, who's pretty decent defender. I think
I heard of him.
Yeah, he's not bad. Got a World Cup, so that's pretty good. But really fantastic in the air. But one of his highlights that probably got me the most excited was he gets beat by a forward on the side, turns around and he's chasing the guy and waits till the perfect moment, slides in the box and kicks it to the side, which is brave. Like, oh my gosh, like to do that clean is so hard. Like,
yes.
That shows a level of intelligence. It shows a level of finesse. It shows just somebody who's cool, calm under pressure, which is everything you want in a good center back. So I think Daniel's going to be just a stalwart at the back. Just so many times, that center back becomes the guy who you just want to go hug after the game because they a lot of times win you games. Defense wins games, and so having a guy like him at the back, and again, kind of with that Spanish connection with Alberto, and being able to kind of bring kind of that Spanish football style to our team, I'm really excited.
For sure.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, there's so much more I want to say, but I can't say.
Yeah, we
sure.
did get some secrets, didn't we?
Ooh, yeah.
And we got good news coming, though. We got a lot of exciting news.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, depending upon how these drops go with these players and whatnot, we may be recording sooner than a week.
Yeah, and we are going to try to get on here as much as possible. It's tough with full-time jobs and families and all that good stuff, but this is so much fun. It's fun that we've gotten a few messages from Scotty about players listening, all that kind of stuff. Appia has commented on everything, so it's fun to start getting some momentum, and hopefully we can get some of those guys on the podcast. So be looking out for that because we'd love to chat with them. And something I want to point out, just hadn't even thought about it till just now, is just how good the team is doing at getting all these announcements, having all these events, letting us have a longer ramp up into the season. I just really applaud West Texas FC for just giving us, we're hungry, and they're just giving us these awesome bites.
Here's a spoon. Let's go.
Yeah.
Here comes the airplane.
Yeah, and Melissa's done such a good job at every single one of those. So it's a lot of fun just to be a part of that whole machine.
Dude, I can't wait. Like our first game on the 17th, that watch party, still details up in the air, TBD. But dude, I'm gonna be bouncing all over the place. It's almost gonna be like I'm at the stadium. I'm hoping I don't get kicked out of Tall City or where we're at, because it's gonna be lit, man. I'm ready. I hope we have maybe a warm up or something like that we can go to. But I mean, what are we at? March 27th. We got a month and a half ish, right? Yeah. It can't come fast enough, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. These little tidbits as players and this, and we're doing that as a schedule. Oh, great. Get us there. I'm ready. I'm ready to see these guys in action. Yeah. And
unless you guys have something else to go into, I'll end on this. But something else that Scotty talked about, because before the Meet the Coach was the local tryouts. And we asked Scotty how that went, and he was talked really highly of all of the people that showed up to that and the players that showed up. He said the quality was really, really great, and even pinpointed a few guys that he was like, hey, you guys some special people here in Midland, which that just lifted me.
Floored me.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it shouldn't, right? We're just not a soccer-centric town, at least visibly. Maybe we really are underneath, and I think Tormenta, something we want to do is try to feed that monster, right, and bring it to the surface. But we have some guys here locally that even Scotty looked at and said that kid can play, and some were young, so that's super exciting and something that really made me proud. And a guy like that to compliment people from our town, that was pretty special,
for sure. And that's connected to one last little plug that I wanted to make, because the boys who came out and tried out on Saturday, but the soccer community is here in West Texas, right? And it's growing, but it's here. And I wanted to shout out the Midland High School and the Permian High School girls teams, who both made it to the second round of the playoffs. UIL playoffs. Ended up losing this week, but man, great season from both of those squads, making it to second round of the playoffs. And there's talent here. Boys, girls, there's a lot of kids who are playing. And a demonstration of that, I got to shout out one player as well, because Midland High School, they scored a goal in their game. They lost to the 9th-ranked team from Keller, so a good squad that they fell to. But the goal that they scored was scored by Adeline Hahn, 30th goal of the season. So, credit to her. There's talent in this community. There's talent on both sides, boys, girls, soccer, and it's awesome to see soccer continuing to grow in West Texas.
Yeah. Growing up out here, man, I always thought, I grew up in the football culture, American football, right? To see where we're developing now, I mean, to have a West Texas FC, to have people that, a coach like Scotty's recognizing out here, said, that guy, he's got something. For these guys to come in and play and see some of our younger people, out there at the tryouts, at the trainings that they do and all the cool stuff like that. Man, sky's the limit from here. Hopefully we can keep it growing. Maybe we get some more athletes in this sport. Yep. See some of these, high school soccer teams go a little further. See West Texas FC go further. Man, it's just nothing but up. Let's go.
Absolutely.
No doubt West Texas is the best Texas. And with that, we'll sign off, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
All right.
To the next one.